these people look like my mum. They look like my dads, my uncles. No, my mum came out of retirement as a carer to help during the pandemic. And it was her putting her life on the line that honestly, it sparked a rage in me that was incandescent. It was dangerous. Um, and I needed to put that in a place where I could safely express it, and that was Raging Grace. So this is a very untraditional horror, a film that is blended genre. It's got thriller, comedy, and horror in it. But it is a film that was written first and foremost to be entertaining, but it's a film that goes to challenge things like colonialism, British colonialism, and new and old white power, all through, the experiences of our main character, Joy, who, as you said, is an undocumented worker, and her young British-born daughter called Grace. Yes, they are accidentally hired to look after this sort of seemingly old terminal man in a big Gothic house. And they make, a discovery that literally changes their life forever.
You must be the new help.
Yes, ma'am.
Do try to remember that this is your place of work, not your home.
So many immigrants, diaspora, children of the diaspora, often feel powerless in a society that they want to belong to, feel like they do belong to, yet somehow then so many of us have often never felt we belong here, or we are welcomed here, or are good enough to be here. And one of the reasons I wanted to write this film was because of how powerless I have felt in my own life when it has come to, confront these very oppressive structures that we live in. I know for me, my parents who came here back in the, 80s, lived a life running a cafe, and also my mom being a cleaner was subjected to a lot of micro and macro racist aggressions. And they knew when they had kids, they did not want them to go through the same things they did. They didn't know it at the time, but what they taught us was to assimilate.
Right.
So many of these lessons that they taught us, really did come from a place of survival. One of the decisions that they made, which I used to be really angry about, what was to not teach us our mother tongue, speak to us in it.
Yeah.
Wanted us to keep speaking English at home and outside. And I grew up essentially rejecting a lot of my own heritage, and getting to a point where I didn't want to know about it because it felt embarrassing. It felt like that was not social currency, in a place where my mom and dad taught me, white approval and seeking whiteness is how you succeed, is not where you come from.
Yeah.
And I know during the pandemic, when so many of us had a lot of time to think about ourselves and where we were, I don't think we had a choice. We just had to sit
Yeah.
down and, it was a very introspective time. I basically realized I didn't know who I was. I'd given so much of that power away. And I needed to make a film that allowed me to regain that power.
There are so many children back home that would be happy to have this.
How are you?
No, Mr. Garrett, I'm Joy. This is my daughter.
Grace. I saw her in my dream. She tells me you've been caring for me.
You spent pretty much large parts of your adult life, I guess, with this internal battle. And for you, the inflection point was really that pandemic period, would you say?
100%. 100%. That was a real catalyst for myself becoming a more authentic person, and also the birth of this script. That was a year of great racial chaos. We also saw the rise of open aggression towards East and Southeast Asians because of the toxic rhetoric over in the US and in the UK about where this virus had come from. I think what healed me really, which was not just the dealing with my own shame of culture rejection, but the government's reaction towards the very immigrants who were propping up a very tired, very underfunded, under-resourced NHS. The very immigrants who were Filipino nurses and doctors who were dying for whatever reason, more so than anyone else in the NHS, protecting the British public. These people look like my mum. They look like my dads, my uncles. No, my mum came out of retirement as a carer to help during the pandemic. And it was her putting her life on the line that, honestly, it sparked a rage in me that was incandescent. It was dangerous. And I needed to put that in a place where I could safely express it, and that was Raging Grace.
I'm originally from the Philippines.
I love the Philippines. I once had a Filipino nanny.
There is no nuance when it comes to rage. Expressing anger feels like a scribble to me. And that was the initial draft for Raging Grace was just more an expression of those frustrations, those decade-long frustrations that I never had the words or language to articulate that hurt and that pain. But I knew holding this rage was making me tired. Tired in a way that was no longer feeling useful to me. And so in the coming drafts, it was about shaping that fire, finding ways to be able to express it gracefully, and in a way that put all the nuance back into, the very oftentimes complex situations that immigrants find themselves in. You talk about power dynamics, and it was something that was consciously at the forefront of my mind because of how people of color in this country and any majority-facing country are immediately caught in a power dynamic that does not seek to serve them. It diminishes them, denigrates them, it undervalues them, underrepresents them, ignores them. And this film and the expression on page had to be about being loud, had to be about being heard. And it had to be done in a way where I had to let go of the fear of what it meant to be the good immigrant. And still dealing with it now, bro. And it's tiring, but it's necessary.
Soon find a way to be a family again. Go back to the order we had, where they knew their place.
I'm getting to a place in myself where I am only beginning to appreciate now what a film like this means to exist in our industry right now, especially in the UK, and within the wider context of the world. We supposedly live in post-colonial times. We do not. We are very much in a colonial time where our languages of progress that have been forged by people who have been under the metaphorical thumb or the colonial chains have been hijacked. And it feels dangerous in so many ways to be able to confront colonialism through academia, through media, film, music, because of what it may do to your career, what it may do to be someone who is troublesome. And I'm slowly letting go of the fear. I'm slowly feeling galvanized by what this film has done for people and what it has meant to them for it to exist. There's no clean break for me here. This has never, ever felt cathartic for me. I've only felt more enraged. I've only felt more hurt. But as the title implies, it's all about raging gracefully. It's about trying to find a way to continue to express that rage in the most productive way I can. I'm no longer a director who wants to make superhero films, or the films where I can just relax, not relax, but enjoy, the craft without any of these responsibilities.
Right.
I'm now a director where this shit feels vocational to me. I have to do this. I must.
You must, you will, and you have. Paris Zarcilla, thank you very much for your time. It's been a phenomenal discussion, one that we definitely need to pick up in a future date, because I know you have a lot more work to share with the world. And thank you for your time. Thank you for your presence, and thank you for your energy.
And thank you, Presh. Much appreciated, man. It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you.